Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Budget Magic. And this week, we are doing some plumbing in Modern. We're playing a $93 Witherbloom Plumb the Forbidden Aristocrats deck. So let's talk about this super sweet deck, jump into some games, see it in action. Alright, so here is our Witherbloom Plumb Aristocrats deck, and it's actually pretty easy to break down. Our deck comes in 3 parts plus some extras. Basically, we got sacrifice payoffs, we have sacrifice outlets and sacrifice fodder, add them all together, and we have a sweet, super budget-friendly combo deck. So first off, sacrifice payoffs. Blood Artless, Zulaport Cutthroat are the big ones. Whenever one of our creatures die, we basically get to drain for 1. If we add Dina's Soul Steeper to the mix, we kind of drain for 2. Dina's like a payoff, but it requires one of our other payoffs on the battlefield, because it doesn't trigger when a creature dies, it triggers when we gain life, so the life gain from the drain from Blood Arts or Zulaport Cutthroat then triggers Dina, so Dina essentially like doubles up our drain. It also is a sack outlet, not a good one, but that does add value to our deck because we really want to be able to sacrifice our creatures for value. Our main sack outlets, Plumb the Forbidden is the biggest and the newest, and the card is absurd. It is like the best card in our deck. We can sacrifice a creature, or actually any number of creatures. We draw a card for each of them, plus we draw 1 from Plumb the Forbidden itself for just 2 mana. So this does a bunch of things. In the early game, it just refills our hand, it lets us sack creatures in response to removal, and in the late game, it's 2 mana, instant speed, uncounterable, sacrifice our entire board to drain our opponent out of the game with our Blood Artists and our Dinas. Village Rites, just some card draw, and really, honestly, even though the Blood Artists and the Dinas, these are the cards that win us the game, the 2 most important cards in the deck are Village Rites and Plumb the Forbidden. All of our creatures are tiny. We're not going to win with combat damage, but we can draw a lot of them and get a lot of value out of sacrificing them thanks to Plumb and Village Rites. Also, Carrion Feeder, Viziera's here, just creatures that can sacrifice our board whenever we want them to, so works really well with our Blood Artists. As far as what we're sacrificing, we have Blisterpaw, Talkatalk Thallid, and also Young Wolf. These cards are great in our deck. They're essentially each 2 sacrifice triggers in 1 creature, because when they die, Young Wolf just comes back with Undying. The other 2 make a token, so we can sacrifice each of these twice, doubling up our drain from Blood Artists, Indinas, and Zulaport Cutthroats even more. Then we have some ways to get our creatures back from the graveyard. Lurrus is our companion, kind of a free roll since all the stuff we wanted to play was already 2 mana or less. Unearth cycles and can get back any creature in our deck, so some nice combo potential, some nice value. Otherwise, Fatal Push for removal. In general, Fatal Push is kind of like meh in budget decks because we don't have fetch lands, but our deck is so good at sacrificing things. We can usually trigger Revolt when we want to. Mana base, typical budget stuff. Negarbloom Snarl makes me really sad, but you gotta do what you gotta do in the land of $100 decks. In the sideboard, our biggest concern is Rest in Peace, Leyline of the Void. Those cards not only shut down our graveyard recursion, but more importantly, because they create a replacement effect, they shut down our Blood Artists, they shut down our Zulaport Cutthroat, because our creatures don't die, they go to exile, so we basically can't be a Leyline of the Void or Rest in Peace, so Caustic Caterpillar, Mel's Repulsor to answer those cards, some discard for control and combos, some more removals, some graveyard hate, and that is Witherbloom Plumb Aristocrats. That's our budget magic deck for this week. Let's jump into some games, see this awesome brew in action. This deck is so sweet, and it's so much fun, and I get to say Talkatalk Thallid a bunch of times, which what could be better than that? So that's our deck for this week. Let's jump into the game, see it in action. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit with a wrap up. Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom, and you can order all the Strixhaven cards you need right now by heading over to cardkingdom.com. Alright, budget magic time. We are playing some Dina Oh boy. Alright, well, that's a good hand. Sack Outlet, double Blood Artist, and Dina. I mean, if we can find some stuff to sacrifice, this could actually work pretty well. Dina, oh dear, something unfair. Alright. Well, Necrobloom Snarl. Play Viziera's here. Go. Opponent. So I'm assuming they're like through the breaching us? Oh boy. Okay. Free spell, Tribal. 2 Gargadon suspended. Oh god. Oh boy. Well, Necroblossom Snarl. Zulaport Cutthroat. Go attacking. I mean, if our opponent restores balance, like, we just lose, I think. That is, That is a thing in Modern. Opponent, Gargadon, Gargadon. Opponent, land, and passes. Jeez. Well, we are kind of flooding with our little 18 land deck here. Go to combat, attack you. Opponent takes it. Well, we will, I guess, snag Luris. Pass the turn. Does our opponent have Electro Dominance Restore Balance? Not yet. Alright. I mean, we're making progress. Opponent's down to 16. That's something. Plays a land. Fires of Invention. Alright, so free spells may be cast. Alright, so opponent found the Restore Balance, which I think means we're dead. We lose all of our black mana. We can't cast anything. Well, fair enough. We get to scry, looking, I guess, for a black source. Unearth would be sweet if we had a black source. Yeah. I mean, this... Yeah. Fatal Push, not a black source. Yeah, we're dead. We gotta sack all of our lands. We gotta go to one card in hand, and there's just no coming back from that. Well, we get to bring in Duresses. Duresses seem to have potential. I guess we might need to bring in Caustic Caterpillar in case our opponent has hate cards. We will go down. I think our deck is sweet. The only problem is it is also relatively fair. And relatively fair is not necessarily where you want to be if you're playing against super unfair. So that is my worry. We also severely flooded out that game, which didn't help matters. So maybe, but really, like, even if we had drawn ideally, what are we going to do about Restore Balance coming down? Duresses are helpful. Caustic Caterpillar's necessary, plus it can blow up like fires or as foretold. Although, even if we do blow up fires or as foretold, I don't think it really matters because our opponent can cast something before we get to blow it up. So it doesn't actually stop like Restore Balance or whatever. Well, reveal Loris. All right. Tap lands for years, but snarls. The price we pay to play budget. Opponent has a Ley Line of Sanctity. Well, it's real good against us. Play Necro Blossom Snarl, tapped, of course. So if there's a tiny bit of good news, it's that Zulaport Cutthroat just hits each player. Bad news is our duress plan is not going to work unless we can find a way to kill this. Unless we can find a way to kill this Ley Line. Well, play Zulaport Cutthroat. Go. Opponent. Going to opt. Well, I'm rooting for our opponent to get mana screwed here. To the bottom. Alright, well, we will play a land. We will play a Zulaport Cutthroat. If we can get enough stuff on the battlefield, our opponent could be punished for Restore Balancing. We're not there yet, but that is a place we could get to. Oh, I wish we could cast this Duress. Opponent. Lightning Bolts a Zulaport Cutthroat. Gets double drain. Sure. And passes. Well, we will play Zulaport Cutthroat. Unearth Zulaport Cutthroat. Go attacking. Boy, wouldn't mind a sack outlet. We got the Blister Pod. If we can find a way to sack stuff for value, we can actually kill our opponent fairly quickly. Which we need to do because eventually they're going to draw lands, and eventually those lands are going to let really scary Wow, alright. All 4 Cutthroats. Well, now I think the Restore Balance plan probably isn't a great one. Boy, if we can find a sack outlet, we win! We need the sack outlet and we win. That's what we need. Give us a Plumb. Give us a... anything that sacrifices? Opponent, untap land. Into Electro Dominance, X0. Into. Can't be Restore Balance, our opponent loses. Wow, okay. Doesn't our opponent just lose from this, though? So we get 2 lands. We sack all of our creatures. And our opponent loses. We're fine with this. Alright, risky technique, opponent, but we will take it. Well, I guess that's how we beat a Restore Balance. We just gotta get enough blood artists on the battlefield that our opponent can't really afford to do anything. So they have Ley Lines to prevent our Duresses. I wonder if they take them back out because of how that game went. It seems possible. You know, let's go down one Tonka-Tonk and bring in one Maelstrom Pulse. One more answer. Opponent's on the play this game. That game we did benefit from our opponent keeping a risky 1-lander. Oh, reveal Loris. Sure. We're on the draw. Okay. Well, the funny thing about this hand is, which I do like, is it has a bunch of stuff that leaves things behind if we get Restore Balance. I guess that's another potential pathway to beating Restore Balance. Ooh, opponent's keeping 7. Probably a bad side. But like Tonka Tonk, Young Wolf, etc., at least they come back. Why is Moto freezing? Oh, Moto, we actually got a chance in this one. Don't do this to us, Moto. All right, hang on. We're gonna do a super quick restart of Moto. Enjoy my beautifully clean, well, relatively clean desktop. Comparatively, I think that's the word I was looking for. Comparatively clean desktop. Normally, like it's full over to here. So I think that's actually pretty reasonable. All right, can we beat the unfairest? Oh, wow, is this gonna be a Moto win? Yes, we would like to keep. Huh? What is going on, Moto? Oh wow. All right, it did eventually let us keep. Okay. Well, opponent, let's see what you got. No lane line this time, which means duress would actually be reasonable. Necroboom Snarl coming into play untapped like a champ. Basically Bayou with this hand. Opponent. Scryland, certainly. Actually wouldn't mind another green source. Duress. So I don't think they do anything, well, do they do something busted this turn? All right, I think what we do is Snarl and Young Wolf. So I think the sequencing, Snarl, Young Wolf, next turn, Duress plus Tonka Tonk, and then, I love saying that card. It's not a good card, but I do love saying its name. Probably incorrectly, but still. So next turn we can 1-drop plus Duress. We got the Village Rights. We're not in horrible shape here. Duress can be effective against our opponent's deck. 1 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Plays a Shivan Reef. And suspends a Gargadon. Alright, Forest is not bad. We will go to combat, hit you for 1. I think we definitely need to duress this turn. The risk is too high if we don't. Play the Swamp. Duress you. Take a Serum Visions. Play Tonka Tonk. Pass the turn. Well, okay. They did leave something on top, though, which, well, we'll see. We'll see. Opponent. Probably a land? Ops. They need a way to cast their free spells. That's what they're missing. Opponent. Ops. They might have left a way to cast their free spells on top, but need to find the land now. That's also a possibility. All right, there's a land tapped. Next turn could be a bad one. Play a Forest. Play a Blood Artist. Play a Tonka Tonk. Pass, go to combat, hit you for 2. So if our opponent has Restore Balance, they take 4. We get a 2/2 and 2 1/1s. That's reasonable. All right, opponent bolts a Blood Artist. That is less reasonable. Not a Vortean. Gemzo Caverns. So, all right, suspending Ancestral is good. We will play Zulaport Cutthroat. Go to combat. Attack you. Down to 11. Play Blooming Marsh. Pass the turn. This is close. Can our opponent find a payoff? Restore Balance probably beats us. We would like to win before Ancestral comes down. There's a chance we can do it. Opponent. What do you got? We know there's an Ancestral in hand. There's a Garg suspended. Electro Dominance X1. Well, in that case, we will sack, fizzle, draw. Ooh, double land. Okay, that's not great. Double land's not great. Opponent passing. I'll play Carrion Feeder. Get a Luris. Wow, we got a shot. Snag a Luris. Play Blooming Marsh. Hit ya. I mean, our opponent needs something this turn or we got the win. Down to 7. Like, Luris into Blood Artist into sack our board is lethal. Opponent. Ticking down. Come on. Hold for 1 turn, deck. 1 turn. No sweepers. Nothing ridiculous. 1 turn. Let us beat the brokenness. Syrup Visions. Okay, so random redraw. I mean, opponent needs it this turn. This is a turn that they needed or they're dead. Finds an Asforetold. Wow. Oh my goodness. Miracles happen for our opponent. Well, we'll see. So, opponent hits the miracle. We make a board. We play Llanowar Waste. We play Young Wolf. We hit you for 4. Well, I think we might have a shot. Even if our opponent can go land Gargs, but we win through a Gargadon. Our opponent also has no land, so they only get 1 spell with this Asforetold. We know one of the cards in hand is Ancestral. Okay, there's Ancestral. There's 1 free spell. Oh, they hit an untapped land that is not going to hurt them. Opt. Oh, I think we got it. Opponent's out of outs. Oh, we beat a Restore Balance. Yeah, like, you can get your Gargadon, but you're still dead. We still have 3. Young Wolf's coming through. Try to free spell us, will ya? Opponent passes. We go to combat. We attack with everything. I mean, I guess our opponent could have drawn, like, Lightning Bolt off of Asfertol, like, and cast it on our turn. All right, there's the Gargadon. This would be absurd if our opponent just... That would be so many runners in a row. Opponent blocks. Oh! All right. We survived a Restore Valads. Our Tonka-Tonk Valads come through and let us beat the free spell deck. That was impressive. You do not beat Restore Balance too often, so we will take it. Sweet. All right, budget magic time. We are playing some Dina Aristocrats in Modern, and seems fine. 1-drop, Dina, Carrion Feeder, some card draw potentially. Seems reasonable. See what our opponent's doing, of course. It's gonna play into it a bit. Let's just Blooming Marsh and Young Wolf. Yeah. Oh boy. Nimmegus Elemental. Okay. Opponent getting frisky. That is frightening. Play the land. Play Dina. Hopefully we stop drawing lands. I don't think we die this turn. Hopefully. Definitely frightened of this matchup, though. This deck can pour on some damages. Sunbaked Canyon. This might actually be the Mucha Brew deck we played a couple of weeks ago. It looks like it so far. Monastery Swift Spear. Finding something like Fatal Push would be nice. Crash Through. Does it resolve? It does. I feel like we can't block here because of mutagenic growth, so I think we just got to take it. Yeah, we will take it. Down to 17. Untap. Another Dina. Well, play the Forest. Play a Carrion Feeder. Go to combat. Get in with the Young Wolf. Could use a Blood Artist. Could also use removal just to get these threats off the battlefield. Opponent's going to Lightning Bolt Dina. Well, let's Plumb, sack Young Wolf, sack Dina. Draw some cards. Okay, Blister Pod. More lands. Young Wolf makes its return. Oh boy. All right. Running hot on lands. A little hotter than we were hoping. We're only an 18 land deck, so 6 out of 12 is a ton for our deck. Opponent. Wow, they should have eaten that with Nimmegus. We are okay with them not doing it, though. Opponent, are we dead? Manamorphose, perhaps. Yeah, that's frightening. Frightening. Yeah, opponent gave up 2+1/+1 counters there by not eating that bolt. Opponent, I guess we have to not auto-yield. If they try to bolt the wolf, we gotta sack it. I mean, we're not dead yet. We're also not in an amazingly good place. I mean, I guess if they have a storm card, we might be dead. Finding a Fatal Push would be nice. Like, cheap removal is where you want to be against this deck. Oh, dear. Lava Darts our face. That's not great. Down to 13. Lava Darts our face. So this one they should eat. Like, okay, opponent has recognized they have a Nimmegus Elemental. And Ground Rift. All right, so we are dead. Well, we'll let him do it. But this does mean we're dead. Yeah, well, I mean, that's why you play this deck. It can get very, very fast kills. So opponent makes it so our stuff can't block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 10+1/+1 counters. Plus the Swift Spear. And, yeah, all right. On to game number 2. Well, we can bring in another Fatal Push. I don't know if Duresses are worth it. Fatal Push is great. Maelstrom Pulse is not great, but it does kill a thing. I don't think Duress is probably worth it. I feel like the way to beat this deck is to keep the creatures off the battlefield. We'll go down an Unearth. We'll go down 1 Plumb the Forbidden and 1 Dina. Let's try it like that. All right, we get to play first. Reveal Loris. Show us. Well, okay. Not the most exciting hand, but I guess Blister Pod into Village Rites can. Boy, we're drawing a lot of lands this match. We could mulligan, but hopefully Village Rites is enough to save us. And I guess having a lot of lands does mean that we are likely to get to Loris. Put it. Want to keep a 0-lander? Or are we a post-combat main phase? Wow. Okay. Very confused. Opponent, sideboard into Dredge. Well, play Llanowar Waste. Play Carrion Feeder. We are doing our opponent's job for them here with our painful mana base. Hit ya. Zulaport Cutthroat's not bad. It's actually, I mean, that's one of the cards we want. Wow. I think, at first I thought our opponent misclicked, but it seems like our opponent intentionally kept a 0-lander. They must have had a hand that just, if they draw a single land, wins the game. That would be my guess. Oh, do we want to go down another Unearth? Is Maelstrom Pulse even fast enough? You know what, let's do it. Alright, well, let's see. We got that one, thanks to our opponent with a keep that was probably too risky. Yeah, we're not. We can't keep this. Way too many lands. Oh, jeez, Alright. I don't understand how our 18-land deck constantly has so many lands, but I don't think we can just keep mulliganing. Thankfully, we have Maelstrom Pulse, so we do have a removal spell. Opponent also doing some mulliganing. Battlefield Fjorge. And there's the Lumimancer. Yeah, I mean, Lumimancer could deal some fast damage. Please not more lands. Plumb the Forbidden. I mean, Plumb will be good eventually. Blister Pod, go. I do like that we have all these things that can block twice. That is helpful. Mountain. Opponent. Passes. Well, Blooming Marsh. And Dina, go. I mean, it's not impossible that we die this turn, which is absolutely frightening. Land for our opponent. Like, it doesn't take that many spells. I guess our opponent would need Trample, too, which helps, because we can chump. But, like, Crash through Double Strike Ground Rift? Can't block, can't block. Yeah, I mean, there are 3-card hands that our opponent could have that make us die here, even through blockers. Or even just Ground Rift and, like, Mutagenic Gross. If we survive this turn, though, we can kill the Lumimancer, and our opponent doesn't seem to have additional threats. More lands. Well, I guess that's traditional. We're going to Maelstrom Pulse. Not especially efficient, but go to combat. Yeah, we'll get in with both. I don't think they can kill us with a Swift Spear. Like, if they haste in Swift Spear and cast a couple spells, whatever. I don't really like Swift Spear in the deck. Our opponent did message me and said that it is the Mucha Brew list, or maybe they have made some adaptations, but they're like, hey, it's your deck. Opponent. Whew. Well, I'm glad we killed the Lumimancer. Crash through. Swift Spear. No, that's fine. Swift Spear is the least scary of the threats in the deck our opponent's playing. Opponent hits us. Down to 19. Unearth. Interesting. So we could Plumb the Forbidden Blister Pod, draw 2. Unearth it. Yeah, let's go for that. Let's Plumb the... Well, we can do it at instant speed. Well, maybe we just get Lurrus. Let's take Lurrus. Lurrus is good for the long game. I guess Lurrus is the one reason that this flooding out is not as bad as it looks. Alright, pass the turn. Could use more removal. Opponent combat. Attacks. Yeah, we'll just take it. I really don't think they can kill us with the Swift Spear very easily. Opponent passes. Village Rites is nice. I'll go to combat. Attack. Hit ya. Village Rites Blister Pod. Draw a couple cards. Tonka Tonk. Play Llanowar Waste. Play Blister Pod. Pass the turn. The other nice thing about this Plumb the Forbidden is it is a good way to get around our opponent trying to make our stuff not block with Ground Rift. Not as good against Trample, but against Ground Rift, we can sack our stuff at instant speed to make creatures that can block. Well, yeah, let's Plumb. Sack 3. Get some tokens. Draw some cards. Man, Plumb the Forbidden is such a good card. So we get to draw 4. Alright, Maelstrom Pulse. Oh, Fatal Push. That's one of the cards we were looking for. Village Rites. Make a token. Make a token. Well, this is going kind of... Oh, another Village Rites. We will Fatal Push the Swift Spear. We will play a Blood Artist. Go to combat. Attack you. Hit ya. And... yeah, let's unearth a Blister Pod. Pass the turn. I think we're getting there. Our opponent's just kind of stumbled around these last 2 games. Opponent, land. I mean, we're pretty close to just winning, honestly. Opponent, Lava Darts. And we'll just, sure, sack it. Drain you. I'm actually kind of surprised they went after a non-Blood Artist creature. That seems like the one you'd want to kill most. Oh, Plumb. Okay. Okay, go to combat. Attack you with everything, including our 0/1. Opponent takes it. Well, Village Rights, the Sapperling. Double Drain. Dina, doing work. Village Rights, Blister Pod, Double Drain. Young Wolf, sack the Scion, Double Drain, and, whew, we got there. Well, that's Dina power. That was a good Dina game. All right. Well, yeah, that was good. I mean, our opponent kind of stumbled and bumbled around, but we'll accept it. Sweet. All right, budget magic time. We are mulliganing with a Dina Aristocrats in Modern, and we'll keep this. What are we putting at the bottom is a question. I guess the Unearth? Yeah, let's go Unearth to the bottom. Well, Blooming Marsh and a Carrion Feeder. Go. Snarl is doing what snarls do. Snarling up our curve, but that's alright. We'll see. We could just draw basic. We have 6 basics. I mean, snarls are not great in this deck, but you do what you gotta do. Opponent, Temple Garden, Utopia Sprawl. Alright, getting there. Ramp on. So this is probably Heliod combo. Plumb the Forbidden. Well, Snarl it. Hit you over 1. Yeah, what do we have that's good against our opponent's deck? Well, boom. 17. Take the 1, opponent. Take the 1. Snuffs. A Hungry Lair of Flourishing Rot. I don't know about the flourishing, but rot for sure. Opponent, do we have a Heliod? Skyclave Apparition. Well, that's fine. We will Village Rights. Draw a couple cards. Ugh. Alright. Sure. Well, we will play a Dina. Temple Garden. Untapped. Coco. Alright, well, this could be game. Heliod Spike Feeder's game. Well, alright. Skyclave Apparition, Conclave Mentor, also pretty good. Yeah, this, not going great at the moment. Opponent hits us. This might be a tricky one. Atlanta Warways. Play a Dina. Play a Blister Pod. Opponent's like green-white control at the moment. Ooh, you know what'd be really bad for us here is Walking Ballista or Heliod combo. Okay, sure. Is this double mentor into Ballista? Oh boy. Opponent cracks Forest Spike Feeder as a 4/4. Well, we are dead to pretty much everything. Opponent's gonna pass. We will continue to play tap lands. Zulaport Cutthroat. Go. Alright, opponent. Alright. Nothing. All lands in hand, please. Opponent. Okay, that's a land, essentially. Utopia Sprawl. And attacks. Or not. Attacks. Well, I don't know what our opponent's plan is, but we're going to double block. Like, we're so far behind at the moment. If we get blown out, we get blown out. Like, we gotta do anything to try to get back in this game and get things off the battlefield. Opponent has. Wow. Okay. Hilariously, I kind of didn't remember that was a Modon Spike Feeder. It never puts counters on anything else. It always just puts them on itself, but, well, we lose Dina. We get a Blister Pod token. We do not die yet. Opponent, tap land, passes. Well, we will play a Blister Pod. We will get Luris. Yeah, that is frightening. So they can remove a counter to put 3 counters on any creature. Like, I think we just died as Spike Feeder pumping, even if our opponent whiffs. Or they draw Heliod. Alright, Ranger Captain can get walking. Yeah, this one's super duper over. Yeah, this feels like a really tricky one for our deck. Collected Company would be good in our deck. Yeah, I mean, so Walking Ballista is gonna have 4 counters. It can kill our board. Yeah, there's no getting back into it from this point. Yeah. Well, Fatal Push in. Probably a Maelstrom Pulse in. Unearths do not seem great since our opponent seems to be killing our stuff with damage. Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, alright. Run it back. Run it back and pray to the magic gods. Okay. I mean, our snarls are snarling into play tapped, of course, but sounds okay. So how do we want to do this? Yeah, snarl is kind of annoying. So I guess we just turn 1, tunk, go. Opponent, Temple Garden, untapped. Utopia Sprawl. Well, Llanowar Waste. Utopia's Brawl is interesting. I kind of wonder, having Utopia Sprawl C play in this deck kind of makes me wonder if maybe it's like on the edge of being actually too good for Modern. Like, having a C play in ramp decks with Arbor Elf and so forth is one thing, but having it just be like, okay, I'm a combo deck and I'm just speeding up everything. Jeez, yeah. And I'm just speeding everything up by a turn. That is a pretty big sign of the power of this card. Well, we'll play a Zulaport Cutthroat. We will play this Snarl tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent. Collected Company is a card I would consider in our deck if we weren't budget. I don't know if it'd be worth it, but maybe. Opponent. Heliod. Alright, so setting up for potential infinite next turn. I'll play Llanowar Waste. Play a Tonka Tonk. Pass the turn. Opponent. Temple Garden. Untapped. Auriok Champion. Turns on Heliod. Spike Feeder. Oh yeah, this beats us, doesn't it? So, Auriok Champion, extra counter from Heliod on Spike Feeder. We were hoping that, yeah, so Auriok Champion does it. We could beat just Spike Feeder Heliod, because when our opponent removes the first counter, we could Plumb, Revolt, Fatal Push. But now that our opponent has two counters, there's no window. If we go to Fatal Push, they just remove another counter. So now our opponent has infinite life, and yeah, that does it. Well, that's why this is I think the best deck in Modern at the moment. At least close. I'm pretty sure this would be ranked number 1 though. If you're gonna do a Modern deck tier ranking, Heliod Company, pretty strong, pretty strong. Well, all right, on to the next. All right, budget magic time. We are Dina-ing in Modern, and Sand actually looks pretty good. Got a sackable creature, a payoff, a sack outlet, lots of card draw. Yeah, I like this hand. We'll see what our opponent's doing. I mean, this is a relatively fair hand, and we are on the draw. Polluted Delta, opponent passes. Well, play a Swamp, and a Carrion Feeder. Yeah. Next turn, we can Young Wolf and leave up Village Rights. Hollowed Fountain, tapped opponent. Island. Well, go to combat, attack ya. Opponent takes it. Well, Llanowar Waste and a Young Wolf. Pass the turn. Opponent's gonna opt. Yeah, let's Village Rights now. Draw a couple cards. Alright. That's good. It would be nice if we could get to the point where we could leave up Plumb if there's a Wrath. Fatal Push isn't great. Well, go to combat. Attack ya. Hit ya. Down to 15. Zulaport Cutthroat. Pass the turn. Alright, no wrathing. No wrathing, please. Opponent cracks Polluted Delta. I mean, I guess the good news is, if our opponent does wrath, we do get to at least sack something to draw cards. And get some Zulaport Cutthroat triggers. Our deck doesn't have a fast clock, but it does seem relatively good against removal. Opponent passing. Well, we will untap. Well, there's a land. Go to combat. Attack. Leave back Zulaport Cutthroat in case there's a Snapcaster. Opponent takes it. Well, play a Dina. I feel like there's going to be a counter at some point. Alright, there's the counter. Well, pass the turn. Opponent is down to 11. Opponent passing. Well, untap. Go to combat. So opponent going to Cryptic tap draw. Alright, well, we'll go attacking. Opponent down to 7. Carrion Feeder, number 2. Pass the turn. I kind of like where we're at. Like, if our opponent does try to wrath our board, worst case we get to sack everything and like draw 5 cards, and hopefully that lets us rebuild. All right, Esper Charm, Crim Style to draw 2 cards. Maybe our little dorks can get the job done. Opponent passing. Well, we untap. Well, this turn our opponent probably has to Cryptic. More Fatal Pushes are not exciting. I'll go to combat. Here comes the Cryptic. Tap, draw. Okay. Well, go to our second main. Village Rights, Carrion Feeder. Draw a couple cards. Play Tonka Tonk. Play a Snarl tapped. Pass the turn. Oh, we're close. We're like super close. Opponent, land. And this is withdrawing 2 fatal pushes that aren't really doing much. Opponent, passing. Well, we untap. Go to combat. Do we have another cryptic? Tap draw. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, we're so close. All right. We're like a creature short of winning. Well, we will snag a Luris. Play the land past the turn. Opponent ups. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're so close. Opponent to the top. Land. And passes. Well, go to combat. Snapcaster Cryptic? If they Snapcaster Cryptic, we are going to try to find a way to win here. I mean, if they Snapcaster Cryptic, Luris, Dina, sack stuff to Carrion Feeder, that should do it. Well, go to combat attack. Kaya's Guile, make a 1/1, gain 4 life. Okay, but we will Fatal Push the 1/1. We don't really want the Zulaport Cutthroat to get blocked here. Opponent drops to 5. Play Blooming Marsh. Oh, do we just go for it? Plumb the Forbidden. Sack. Get some triggers. The way this goes wrong is if our opponent has more life gain. All right, hit ya. Or I guess if our opponent can kill Zulaport Cutthroat before we get the Tonka token. Archmage's Charm. Okay. Sack it to itself. Drain ya. Draw some cards. Opponent's at 2. Play Carrion Feeder. Sacrifice Apperling. Drain ya. And we got there against the control deck. Okay. Our sneaky synergies paid off. Well, all right. Opponent's playing Esper Control. Duress is in. Caustic Caterpillar's in. Okay. Duress is Caustic Caterpillar. We'll go down the Fatal Pushes. We will go down a Dina. How do we make room? The thing we're most afraid of is just hard Graveyard Hate. We don't care about soft Graveyard Hate, but hard Graveyard Hate is pretty tough. We'll keep the Carrion Feeders. Can we get a Maelstrom Pulse in the deck? I feel like we need a Maelstrom Pulse somewhere. Oh, are we going to 1 Unearth? Yeah, maybe we cut 1 drop. Let's go down 1 Bliss. Aww. The right choice is probably Tonka Tonk, but I just like saying Tonka Tonk. All right. Well, we'll cut 1 Tonka Tonk. I guess we get to say Tonka Tonk as we sideboard it out, so that's kind of a win. Sand would be good if we had... That hand would be great if we had a land, but we do not. This hand is okay. Put Llanowar Ways to the bottom. Yeah, this hand's definitely more okay than great. We don't have any way to sack our stuff, which is obnoxious. Watery Grave, untapped. Opponent passes. Well, let's snarl ya. Play a Tonka Tonk. Can you beat it? Opponent's gonna opt. Sure. I mean, opponent shocking themselves is good for us. Scries to the bottom. Yeah, we really just want to find a sack outlet. That's the biggest thing we're missing. Polluted Delta. Opponent passes. Well, snarl ya. Go to combat. Attack ya. Blister Pod. And yeah, let's pass for now. I think we can wait 1 more turn before we duress. Hopefully. Opponent, Hallowed Fountain, tapped. Like, what's the worst thing they can do? Honestly, probably Archmage's Charm and steal a 1-drop is kind of obnoxious. Opponent passes. Well, we untap. We draw Caustic Caterpillar. That could be good eventually. Now go to combat. Attack ya. Alright, Kaya's Guile. We will sack Blister Pod. Opponent blocks. Alright, well, now we're definitely duressing. Damnation, Logic Knot, Shark Typhoon. Huh. Can we beat a shark? Can we beat a Damnation? Logic Knot's fine. We did take out our shark removal. Well, you know what? We're going to take Damnation, and we're going to play a Zulaport Cutthroat. And we are going to hope we draw, like, a Plumb the Forbidden or something. Village Rites, Plumb the Forbidden. That's what we're missing is a sack outlet. All right, opponent, top deck's Fatal Push. That is a pretty good draw. Plays a Drowned Catacombs and passes. Ooh, even more lands. So many lands. Well, go attacking. Get Luris. Unfortunately, it's going to be hard to resolve this Luris unless we can draw another Duress. Maybe punished for taking out the Unearths. Opponent passes. Oh! Alright. Well, the Flood is officially on. Attack with the Sapperling. If our opponent makes a shark big enough to kill it, then we get to play Luris. Play Caustic Caterpillar. Yeah, this is awkward. We just have not drawn any way to churn through our deck. No Plums, no Village Rights, and those cards are pretty important. So I assume this is a big shark. Also, kind of regretting taking out the Unearth. Probably bring it back in for game 3. Because getting down this Lurrus would be huge, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to. Opponent plains, passes. We draw, please no more lands. Oh, alright. Well, we will pass the turn. Yeah, this is where we do not want to be against the control deck, where our opponent just has all the time in the world to set things up, and we are just drawing all the lands in the world. Opponent passes. Well, we'll play a Blood Artist. Alright. Pretty good sign our opponent only has one counter in hand. Go attacking. Opponent blocks Caterpillar. Alright. Drew and eliminate. Well, that makes that attack worse. Down to 8 past the turn. Opponent passes. We draw. Unearth. Well, 1, 2, 3. Lurrus. Hopefully our opponent does not have multiple counters. Alright. Yeah. No. Well, yeah. Unearth Lurrus. Did we draw another one? Ooh, they did. Well, okay. I guess we should have played the land, but we still get to pay. We get a Lurrus. Opponent's not a 1 card in hand. Unfortunately, our mana does not let us replay. Oh, come on. Come on. Nothing, nothing, nothing. This is a huge turn. Opponent. Oh, they have it. All right. Well, this was awkward. Yeah, I'm not sure there's a way we can get back into this one now because we have just managed to draw 0 card draw spells. Yeah, it kills a Lurrus. And now I'm not sure how we possibly get back into this. Opponent gets and hits us. No blocks. Look at that. It's a Plumb the Forbidden. Unfortunately. Oh, jeez. Like, this would have been great for like 20 years, but unfortunately. Oh. Well, we found our card draw. Unfortunately, we found it yeah. Alright. We just found it way too late. Like, those were the cards we needed earlier in the game. I guess we were also on the mulligan there. We'll bring the Unearth back in. We'll go down one more Tonka-Tonk. And, well, actually, let's go down to 1 Dina. Run like that, run like that. Well, we are on the play, and hopefully we got our bad running out of the way on that one. The deck really needs the velocity. Well, that went wrong in a bunch of ways. One way is we drew, 8 lands in 15 cards in an 18-land deck. The other way is the deck really needs the velocity that the card draw offers. Like, those are our best and most important cards, and we just got 0 of them. Oh, my goodness. I mean, we're going to keep this. Unfortunately, this is a kind of max snarl punishment here. Being able to play Young Wolf and then Village Rights Young Wolf would be absolutely huge, but unfortunately, we are playing a tap land, passing, and then playing a Young Wolf. And unless we draw land, that's all we're doing, and that is not a good start. Opponent tap land. Passes. Oh my god. Well, we drew a land, which is something. That land is another Snarl. Pass the turn. Opponent. Glacial Fortress. Passes. Well, we draw Swamp. We go to combat. We attack. We do have our card draw this game, which is nice. Well, get in with the Young Wolf. Play a Blood Artist. Pass the turn. Leave up Village Rights if our opponent has removal. Alright. Village Rights, Blood Artist. Ping, you draw a card. Opponent does have a lot of removal, that's for sure. Alright. Zulaport Cutthroat and a land. Drowned Catacombs. Wow. Alright, that was pretty big for our opponent there, honestly. Well, we will duress you. 2 Snapcasters. Well, play a land. Get Lurrus. Yeah, Kyle's Guile was big for our opponent. Get Lurrus past the turn. Oh, yeah, that was a blowout. We could use some more 1-drops. That would be helpful. Opponent plays a land. Well, play a Blood Artist. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Polluted Delta. Opponent passes. Play Zulaport Cutthroat. Pass the turn. Yeah, Kyle's Guile is pretty obnoxious. Since it exiles the graveyard, like, that got our Young Wolf. Keeping that Young Wolf around would have been huge. Opponent gets an island. Snapcaster for Kaya's Guile. Well, at least the Kaya's Guile is going to be gone after this, so it's out of the way, theoretically, forever. Bad news is this means we don't get to Plumb, or else we lose both creatures. See what option they choose. See if they value exiling the graveyard. Alright, opponent's going to make a 1-1 and make us sack. Well, we will sack the Blood Artist. Double drain you. Alright, Kaya's Guile gone, that's good. Opponent untaps. What do you got? Tapping a lot of mana to Fairy. Alright. Well, this is going to make things hard. It means we're probably going to have to duress our opponent and then Maelstrom Pulse to Fairy, which is not a great use of our turn. Opponent hits us with the Snapcaster. Well, we take it. Opponent gets to untap some lands, because Teferi does what he does. Opponent passes. Well, we will duress you. Take the Fatal Push. Maelstrom Pulse to Fairy. Pass the turn. I mean, we are fighting the good fight. We will see. Opponent has Snapcaster and land in hand. I guess I can Snapcaster Fatal Push and just try to go aggro. Alright, gonna wait. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks. We drop to 18. Hallowed Fountain tapped. Well, we untap. We draw. Blood Artist. Well, we will... So what happens if we attack? They Snapcaster Fatal Push. Well, let's unearth... Actually, let's think about this. Let's play Caustic Caterpillar. Let's unearth Blood Artist. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Ops. Wow, this is so close. To the top. Opponent did have to think about it, but they definitely put it to the top. Opponent passes. Land. Well, play a Blister Pod. Go to combat. Pass the turn. We're going to try to play it slow and hopefully be able to use this Plumb. Opponent. Celestial Colonnade. Passes. We draw. Village Rites. Well, we will play a Blood Artist. Alright, opponent's going to kill a Zulaport Cutthroat. Well, we will Village Rites it. Ping you, ping you. So opponent's last card is Snapcaster. We know that. Hopefully we draw land. A land. We do not. Alright, so we get a Blood Artist. We play Tonka Tonk. We pass the turn. Ooh, next turn. Next turn, hopefully. We know our opponent's last card. It's a Snapcaster. Can our opponent top deck their way out of this? We're about to find out. Opponent. What did they draw? It's a land? Okay, that's good. That's very good. Now I like where we're at. Opponent passes. Well, we will play Zulaport Cutthroat. We will Village Rites Blister Pod. Get some triggers. Ping you, ping you, ping you. Oh, I think we got him. I think we might have him. Opponent goes to 10. Pass the turn. Actually, we might as well attack with Tonka Tonk. Alright, we just want our opponent to cast their Snapcaster, so they can't kill a Blood Artist in response. Otherwise, we win next turn for sure. Wow, we have ground through the control deck, including a Teferi. Opponent cannot Wrath us, or they lose. So what goes wrong? So if we cast Plumb the Forbidden, sack, sack, sack. I mean, I guess we currently have lethal. If we untap, it's like super, super easy. And we don't even got to worry about it. Alright, we untap. Well, Village Rites. Tonka Tonk. Get some triggers, draw a card. We just don't want to get blown out by like Kaya's Guile or something. Maybe we're playing this too conservatively. Like, I think we had lethal, but Snapcaster, Plumb the Forbidden is weird. Well, I guess we would have gotten all the triggers. Yeah, I think we should have just plumbed on our end step. I mean, I think we're going to win this either way, but I think we could have just plumbed and sacked 3 creatures. And we knew our opponent just had Snapcaster. Alright, so opponent has Kaya's Guile. Well, we will plumb. Hopefully this works the way we think. Sack everything. Alright, that'll work. Sack them all, ping you out, and that does it. Cool. Okay, so that was a sweet win. There was definitely a punt. We should have just sacked everything last turn. I don't know what we were playing around, but that was a mistake. However, we got to see the power of Plumb there. Like, Plumb, sack the board, drain you out. So good against the control deck. We picked apart a super heavy control deck, and that felt really good. Alright, so alright. Budget magic time. We are Dina aristocrating, plumbing the depths of Modern, and that sounds fine. Could use some card draw. We could use a Plumb actually, Plumb the Forbidden rather, but we could use a Plumb. Otherwise, I mean, 2 sackable creatures, a payoff, an unearth for value. Yeah, I mean, A cheap way to sack our creatures and we're good to go. Well, land and Young Wolf go. See what our opponent's up to. Glacial Floodplain, eh? Well, Snarl and let's play Dina. Yeah, let's play Dina. And get in 4-1. Ship the turn. Snarl into play untapped. Should probably track that and see how often this comes into play untapped. Opponent. Ugh, Stoneforge Mystic. Not a Sword of Feast and Famine. Alright, Batterskull. Well, play the land. Play the... Well, let's go to combat attack. If our opponent doesn't read Dina, this could be good. Do they read Dina? Opponent does. Alright, that makes it harder. Well, we will play a Blood Artist. We will play a Blister Pod. Oh, Plumb would be so good right now. So one way we can get around this Batterskull is blocking and sacking to fizzle life gain, which is decent. Flooded Strand. Opponent cracks. Snow-covered plains. And... are they not putting Batterskull into play this turn? Ugh, Skyclave. Alright. Hits a Blood Artist. Well, that's not good for us. We draw land. I'll play the land. Go to combat. Attack. Hit ya. Opponent takes it. Well, we'll snag a Lurrus, I guess. One thing I've noticed during our games is the games where we find Village Rites or Plumb the Forbidden compared to the games where we don't are super different. I think those are actually the most important cards in the deck. Just to give us the velocity, basically. Opponent passes. Blood Artist. We will play a Blood Artist. Oh, no it. Wow. Huh. Stoneforge and Collected Company. What is happening? Jeez. Alright. Life is super bad. Can't do anything about that. Opponent gets another equipment. Oh. Well, yeah. This is looking like game to me. Well, we'll see. Opponent untaps. Puts a sword into play. I mean, we can't block with the Blister Pod, so this actually doesn't just get us devoid for the first time ever doing something. Boom. Devoid relevant at last. Alright, get a Scion, ping ya. Oh, if we draw a Plumb, I guess we still got a shot. Let's cycle Unearth. More lands. Untap. There's a Village, right? So we'll play the land. Play a Lurrus. Replay the Blister Pod. I mean, we'll see. Maybe we can just sack and juke our way through this. Hopefully our opponent stops hitting removal. Like, how much removal can they possibly... Alright, opponent's going to cast an Oust. I am skeptical that our opponent's Magic the Gathering deck has enough creatures to play Collected Company with a straight face, but perhaps we are missing something. Well, another Village Rites is fine. Yeah, we're going to have to do this the hard way. Opponent is down to 12. We can block with the Scion to fizzle the sword again. Oh, if we hadn't lost the Blood Artist and Dinas to those Skyclaves, life would be even better. So opponent's down to 3 cards. One of them is a Batterskull. Opponent goes attacking. Well, thankfully, we have Eldrazi Scion, so we will block. Ping ya. Down to 20, up to 22, opponent's down to 11. Well, we will play a Blister Pod. We will play Tonkatonk. Blooming Marsh. Go. Leave up the sack outlet in case our opponent has removal. Here comes Batterskull. We're actually, like, not that far away from winning this game, hilariously, with everything our opponents had. Our little 1/1s are kind of holding down the fort somehow. Blisterpod has been an all-star. On the other hand, if our opponent has a flyer to put their stuff on, it gets a lot worse. Alright, Sax Horizon Canopy. Like, they gotta have Icefang Quaddle in their deck. I don't know why else they'd be playing Snow. That would be a card we'd be very worried about. Opponent, Snow-Covered Forest. Pump fakes. Stoneforge Part 3. Alright, all the Stoneforges get sort of fire and ice. Still does not get around to Void. Opponent goes attacking. Well, we will block and sack and drain you. And then Village Rites Blister Pod. Drain you. Come on. Big draw. Big draw. Well, alright. Oh, boy, you need a sack outlet. What needs a sack outlet? Sure. We might actually end up cycling this Unearth. Because if we can hit a sack outlet, we can just win. I think we are. Cycle Unearth. Plumb. That's a sack outlet. That is a sack outlet. So, play Zulaport Cutthroat. Wow, they found a Spell Queller. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's Village Rites. Drain you. Draw a couple cards. Oh! We're gonna get plumbed. We're gonna get plumbed. Oh no, we have the Scion! Blisterpod All-Star! Okay. Play Blood Artist. Sack the Scion. Wow! Blisterpod shut down triple Stoneforge draw basically by itself. And we will sack all of our friends. And get a few triggers, win a few games. Seems decent. 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe we fought through that. Opponent had a good start too. But apparently not good enough to overcome a Blisterpod. Oh, Blisterpod, sneaky all-star. I might have to take back every bad thing I've said about the Devoid mechanic, because it was absurd. Like, Devoid won us that game. Like, straight up, if it wasn't for Devoid, we were not going to win that game, but we had Devoid, and Devoid won. Well, we'll bring in some answers to artifacts and enchantments. We'll trim a Dina. We'll go down a Vizier. We'll go down a Tonkatonk. Oh, this is where it gets hard. Oh, maybe we gotta go to 1 Dina and down to Unearth. So Unearth is awkward against our opponent's removal. It's still good if we have to sack something and reanimate it, but our opponent's not killing stuff as much as they're exiling it. Or apparently ousting it for some reason. Alright. Snarl comes into play untapped. Still missing card draw, but we have answers to equipment, which is something. Yeah, we need a Village Rites, we need a Plumb. That is how every game is with this deck, though. Alright, untap land and a Young Wolf. Hasn't gotten old yet. Your turn about it. Gets a Floodplain. Snow-covered plains. Stoneforge Mystic for Batterskull. Well, we will Fatal Push Stoneforge, Blooming Marsh, and a Tonkatonk. Get in for a 1. Card draw. We need to draw those cards, Magic Gods. Give us a Village Rites, give us a Plumb, let us have some fun. Snow-covered Island, and Ranger Captain of Eos. Getting the noblest of Hierarchs. Play Blooming Marsh, go to combat, attack. So our opponent going to take it? I mean, if they block, it's fine. We get to upgrade. Play a... You know what? Let's get Lures here. Start preparing for the future. Pass the turn. Alright, there's a green mana. Horizon Canopy. I mean, we have a... Wow, do they have Coco? I really would like to see a Coco whiff from our opponent's deck, considering how many non-creatures are in their deck. Well, go to combat attack. Opponent takes it. Play Blisterpod. We're back to that weird fizzly part of the game where we really need to hit card draw. Opponent, come on, Magic Gods. All right, Math has once again been defeated. I want to see our opponent's list. Maybe they have enough creatures to realistically play a Collected Company. Opponent, Snow-covered Island. Noble Hierarch down to 12. Another Elite Spellbinder. This is what happens when our deck does not hit card draw. When we don't hit a card draw spell, we just play 1/1s, and it is not good. And I think we're just straight up losing now. Outland Orways, play Allures. Yeah, did not find a single way to sack a creature. No creatures, no Plumbs, no Village Rites. Opponent. Alright, so it seems like our opponent actually does have some creatures in their deck. Alright, but they also are playing Ousts and equipment. So curious how this is... Wow, alright. Fan enough, Skyclave, and we will scoop it up. Well, that is what happens when we do not draw card draw. It goes poorly. Yeah, run it back. Run it back, draw some card draw this time. Not only does the card draw keep us turning through our deck, it also fizzles all those weird, annoying removal spells. Well, we're on the play, which is good. Reveal Urus. Come on, nice hand this time. You know what? We gotta Plumb the Forbidden, so we will keep. And as a bonus, our Snarl comes into play untapped, which that is a rarity. A true rarity. A miracle. It's a magical Christmas land miracle. Opponent cracks a Windswept Teeth. Gets Temple Garden. Noble Hierarch. Well, play the land. Play a Blood Artist. And Goo attacking. Not happy about this Noble Hierarch being a thing. Our opponent could have turn 2 Skyclave on Blood Artist. Breeding Pool. Untapped. Opponent passes. Well, play the land. Go to combat. Attack. Play a Caterpillar. Opponent runs out of Spell Queller. Alright, pass the turn. Windswept Teeth. Opponent cracks it down to 12. Snow-covered plains. Stoneforge. Always a Stoneforge. Gets the Batterskull. Opponent goes attacking. Well, we'll take it. Do a bit of plumbing. Ping ya. Draw a couple cards. Please be good ones. Another Blood Artist. Young Wolf returns. Blood Artist. Well, go to combat. Get in with the Young Wolf. Hit ya. Play. Tonka Tonk. Blood Artist number 2. Pass the turn. Oh, alright. Just play your Batterskull. That's fine. Land. Opponent hits us. Down to 13. And land off the top. Village Rights. Interesting. Well, go to combat. Do some attacking. Opponent takes it. Well, we will Village Rights the Tonkster. Ping ya. Collected Company. I mean, we have lethal, right? I think. Plumb sacking everything should be 6. Stoneforge and Spell Queller. Oh, that's fine. So we don't get to draw cards, but now we definitely have it. Opponent goes to 5 to 4. Tonka Tonk. Oh, our little jank is beating this pile of insane cards. Plumb? Dual plumbing? Sack you, and you. Give some triggers. Win the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Tonka Tonk and Blister Pod overcome Coco, Stoneforge, Spell Queller, etc. And opponents gives it up. Plumb the Forbidden is a card. Wow, that went well. That went surprisingly well. Whew. Well, that's plumbing power. Sweet. So what did we learn this week about Witherbloom Plumb Aristocrats? And overall, we went 4-1 with the deck, and the deck actually felt really solid. Our one loss came to Heliod combo, and it does kind of exemplify one of the weaknesses of our deck. If you look at our deck, and based on our matches with the deck, we're pretty good against aggro, because we gain a bunch of life, and we got a ridiculous amount of blockers. We're pretty good against, like, mid-range decks, because all of our stuff comes back from the graveyard, we don't mind it dying, plus we can block big threats forever. We're pretty good against control, because what are you going to do, wrath our board and die to Blood Artists and have us get a bunch of tokens back? We beat a Restore Ballads. Like, that never happens in a creature deck. So we're good against all those matchups. The one big weakness, though, is fast combo. Our deck is really good at grinding out value over the course of a few turns, but if our opponent's just comboing off on, like, turn 3, turn 4... that is really tough for our deck to interact with. Like, sure, Duress, like, kind of helps, but really, that's the matchup we don't want to be playing with the deck. But honestly, I love this deck. Plumb the Forbidden is a huge addition to this deck. Being able to draw so many cards and be a good combo piece, the creatures worked really well. We got to see Blister Pod go off, stopping sword damage thanks to Devoid, which is something I've never seen happen before, that mechanic being relevant. So the deck is a blast. If you like sneaky sacrifice synergies, if you like weird creature-y sacrifice combo decks, if you like killing your opponent and drawing a ton of cards, I would definitely recommend this as a budget option for Modern. It's fun to play, it's surprisingly competitive, you get to say Tonka Tonk Thallid a ton of times, so what else could you want out of a Modern budget deck? So that's been our budget magic for this week. Witherbloom Plumb Aristocrats. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Did you enjoy today's budget magic? Well, make sure to check out last week's episode where we played some Plumb the Forbidden in Standard, backed by a bunch of pests and some sneaky token synergies.